Welcome to the second episode of the WakeDown. For anybody who doesn't know me, I'm Rob, and I'm slowly returning to YouTube after a fairly long hiatus. Amongst other things, I have moved from America to Cambodia, and I am now filming in my living room, which is pretty nice. Either way, the channel is going to take a bit of a deviation from memes and re-edits, and is going to take a more serious approach to topics and discussions. And I mean, I'll still probably make the occasional meme video or re-edit, but it's not going to be the focus of the channel anymore. The focus of the channel, given the absolute absurd state of the world, it seems as if now, more than ever before, we need as many people as possible speaking as loudly as possible in an attempt to help others wake up to the truth of what's happening and why it's happening. I'm never going to claim to have all of the answers, not even a complete picture of the truth of what's really going on in the world, and I'm not sure that anybody ever will. But what I intend to do is to present a series of questions and possible answers. I fully support the idea of questioning what I say and doing your own research. Just keep in mind when you are doing your own research that if you're just using Google or Bing or something like that, the returns that you get on your search are not always going to be helpful or truthful or even lead you in a meaningful direction towards an answer for whatever you're asking it. And sometimes it's just as easy as following a couple of quick links, and sometimes you really have to dig to get to the truth of things. But it seems like more than ever before, they don't seem to care too much about hiding what they're doing. And for a lot of these things, they're openly telling us what they're doing. And if you don't know what I even mean by that, then that's what this channel is about. It's about helping you understand what people like me mean when they say they, or what they're doing. Like, we know some secret. We don't. It's not a secret. It's an open secret where plenty of people are allowed to know. You're just not allowed to say it to any substantial amount of people. And so that's the kind of stuff we're going to talk about. So take what you find with a grain of salt, apply critical thinking, and decide what you think is true. And so with that out of the way, let's get into today's topic, which is going to be, what is ESG and how is it destroying the very fabric of our society? So to begin to understand ESG, let's first take a look at Corporate Finance Institute. According to Wikipedia, CFI is an online training and education platform with 1.5 million students. According to CFI, ESG is a framework that helps stakeholders understand how an organization is managing risks and opportunities related to environmental, social, and governance criteria. Some key highlights, according to the same article, explain that ESG has changed how capital allocations are made, but also that an emerging class of ESG specialists is stepping into the industry and supporting both net zero and carbon neutrality goals. The section that describes investing and ESG funds goes on to explain that a large number of institutional investors are hiring a growing number of ESG ratings agencies which exist to assign ESG scores to potential investments. So what is an ESG score? Again, according to CFI, it is an objective measurement or evaluation of a given company, fund, or security's performance with respect to ESG issues. Their article explains that high ESG scores are a constantly moving target, as the scores are frequently impacted by other industry players, micro-industry trends, and, most importantly, alterations to the scoring platform's internal methodologies. So it's a perpetually moving goalpost. Every time a company meets the current requirements for a high score, the scoring platform can simply change the scoring system. But how are ESG scores actually implemented? They are created for different use cases and for different stakeholders. Some are designed to support investments and assess credit risk. Some are designed to support human capital management and staffing decisions, and a wide range of initiatives in between, which means supporting DEI initiatives, among other things. As to what DEI is, that will require a completely separate video to explain it and the equally negative effect that it's having on society. ESG scores can also be used to score performance on a range of issues, from how companies create value and interact with local communities to carbon emissions and climate change. Again, we're told that these methodologies are being updated regularly, meaning that the goalposts continue to move, forcing companies to support ESG issues and initiatives more strongly in order for potential investors to consider them.
Sri Lanka, they scored a 98.1 on the E of ESG, and for example, the United States was at 57%, something like that. So they did a perfect job. They had a tremendous score on the E of ESG, but it was chaos. The people didn't have any food anymore. So this is what is going to happen. The president said at that time, I'm going to make my country wealthy, but he turned them into chaos. And this is now happening everywhere. It's just not in Europe, it's also happening in the United States. It's the UN 2030 agenda. And people have to change lives. And they abuse climate as to create this socialist agenda. It's bigger than that.
So who are the investors that are dictating the criteria upon which any particular ratings agency might use to create a specific scoring system? Meet BlackRock, an American multinational investment company and the world's largest asset manager with $10 trillion in assets as of 2023. Its Aladdin software manages investment portfolios, and its solutions division provides risk management services. Their Wikipedia entry states that BlackRock has sought to position itself as an industry leader in environmental, social, and corporate governance. Yet we see how far their true morals go, as the entry continues to explain that BlackRock has invested in companies involved with fossil fuels, the People's Liberation Army, and human rights violations in China. They have also been accused of contributing to climate change, gun violence, and the promotion of gender diversity. They have also faced criticism for their close ties with the Federal Reserve. Currently, 3 U.S. states have divested money from or refused to do business with BlackRock due to their ESG policies. We also learn that they use various methods to pressure companies into taking action on issues ranging from climate change to improving the gender diversity of their board of directors. During the supposed COVID pandemic, BlackRock placed pressure on pharmaceutical companies, in which they had a large stake in, to cooperate with each other. We're told that in August of 2021, a former executive which served as the company's first global chief investment officer said that BlackRock's ESG investing was a dangerous placebo that harms the public interest. In 2021, the Wall Street Journal's editorial board stated that ESG mandates will cause companies to shun public markets and ultimately hurt stock exchanges, asset managers, and retail investors. The editorial board also said of their July 2023 plan to allow investors to make choices between woke policies and Catholic values that BlackRock was presenting voters with a false choice, as the policies they would be voting on had been created by ESG-aligned proxy advisories. So who runs BlackRock? Like most corporate conglomerates, they maintain a board of directors, though it is currently headed by Larry Fink, the chairman and CEO, as well as one of the co-founders. It is of note that he also sits on the boards for the Council on Foreign Relations and the World Economic Forum. both of which will have their own video in the future.
You now make a point of that's an investment criteria for you.
Well, behaviors are going to have to change, and this is one thing we're asking companies. You have to force behaviors, and at BlackRock we are forcing behaviors.
So, what have we learned? We've learned that investment firms like BlackRock use a constantly changing scoring system to force companies into adopting their policies on a wide range of environmental, social, and political issues by withholding investment money from those that fail or refuse to meet their demands. We have also learned that they are not only willing and able, but actively attempting to change behaviors of companies, their employees, their suppliers, and their communities. To answer the question of whether or not those policies are actually beneficial to the world, we need look no further than our own communities, which they are attempting to change. Those communities now suffer from greater problems and turmoil than ever before, as we, as a society, find ourselves divided more than ever along more battle lines than we have ever had in the history of the world. This is just one of the ways in which we are being controlled and manipulated onto paths that are designed to ultimately enslave us. And I know that that sounds insane. And that is ultimately the point of this channel, to try and provide possible answers to the question of why is the world seemingly falling apart around us? What does anyone have to gain from this? So yeah, I hope that this helped shed some light on what ESG is, and I hope that you'll come back in the future and listen to me explain some other nefarious topic. So until then, have a good day. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.